Hi, Ellen Hook here, owner of your local Ashley Home Store. Celebrate the magic of home this year with help from Ashley Home Store. Shop local at your Ashley store for in-stock furniture, mattresses, holiday decor, and more. We always bring the cheer. We've got all the comforts to make guest room guests smile, and fun festive finishes just overflowing with style. There's dining and kitchenware to help you savor the season, and post-feast recliners to add yet another reason. Visit your local Ashley Home Store right now for hosting essentials that bring holiday wow.
To do is dehumanize immigrants and also demonize them, and that's what we're seeing here.
The Texas governor accusing the federal government of deliberate inaction as he signed the law making it a crime to cross the border illegally, allowing arrests and deportations by the state. Civil rights groups filed a lawsuit today arguing that's unconstitutional and preempted by federal law. An international coalition is on patrol to protect ships in the Red Sea.
Several nations, some named publicly and others not, are participating in Operation Prosperity Guardian to increase patrols and protection for commercial vessels facing missile and drone attacks from Houthi militants based in Yemen.
From the beginning, we said that this is an international challenge that requires collective and international action.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says the operation is intended to send a message to Houthis backed by Iran that the attacks must stop.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Meantime, the U.S., EU, NATO, and several countries, including Yemen, issuing a joint statement condemning Houthi interference with navigational rights. The Dow up 251 at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Google will pay nearly $1 billion as part of a multi-state settlement over fees for purchases made on its app store.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta announcing Alphabet's Google has agreed to pay $700 million to settle a 2021 lawsuit from 50 states alleging it monopolized its Play Store app, violating antitrust laws.
Google has been limiting user options. They've inflated prices for in-app purchases by requiring consumers to pay third-party developers, not directly, but through Google, which takes a large commission.
Google will pay $630 million to more than 100 million Android phone users who made purchases on the Play Store between August of 2016 and September of this year. Also required to pay $70 million to states and to stop anti-competitive conduct. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Just getting word that pilots at Southwest Airlines have reached a deal with the company for a new contract. This comes from their union, but there's no word yet on the terms. A buy now, pay later company expands its partnership with the country's biggest retailer.
Affirm Holdings will be offering its pay over time service at Walmart's self-checkout kiosk. The option will be available at more than 4,500 stores in the U.S., along with Walmart's website and app, and also at Walmart Vision and Auto Centers. An Affirm executive says recent research revealed that more than half of Americans are looking for retailers to offer a buy now, pay later option at checkout. In addition to Affirm's partnership with Walmart, the company also has deals with its competitors, Amazon and Shopify.
Fox's Hillary Barsky recapping stocks. 5 records in a row now for the Dow, up nearly 252 points today to 37,557. The NASDAQ, meantime, breaking 15,000. The S&P up 27 points. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Eastern Illinois. Champaign-Urbana is Saturday and a typical mid-December feel for the day today. Coming off the passing snowflakes of yesterday, the sun will be out, the breeze will be down. High temperatures a little more seasonal for the time of year, up around 34, 35 degrees later on this afternoon. Light west-southwesterly wind, not so cold tonight. Will level off around 26, and temperatures may climb a bit after midnight as winds swing around southwest to south. For the day tomorrow, partly sunny, not so cold. South winds will be gusty up to 45. Lower 30s tomorrow night. We'll welcome in wintertime, 9:27 Thursday evening, and some rain later in the day. Highs back into the mid-40s around here. 47 and sort of a rainy Friday. And into the rest of the weekend we go with high temperatures unseasonably mild into the 50s Saturday and Sunday. Low to mid-50s for Christmas Day, Monday, and into Tuesday. More rain ahead. Maps and charts suggesting a little more wintry look and feel around here as we approach the New Year's holiday. For Steve A.J. Broadcasting, I'm Peter Olchis, Greg Solier.
Like every bank, there's a time every day when...
All right, that'll do it. Hey, what's up? It's The Drive with Tay and Piper on ESPN Radio 93.5. As I just said, but I didn't turn our mics on.
Hey, mine's on now.
Oh, now yours is on.
Woohoo! Now we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Is the board just a mess?
Do we need... No, I'm making a mess of it.
Do we need to tie like a 30 early?
They went zone, and we didn't expect it. Gonna have to hit the 30.
Didn't know they went with the old Lincoln 1-2-2,
Yeah.
and we were like, uh-oh, we don't have the right guys in the right spot.
We've practiced this, but I pissed down my leg and forgot to play. So
Exactly.
Here we are.
I've seen that look before.
That's right.
Not from you. I mean, from like, I can remember coaching my kids, and I'd call like, hey, let's run bird. And there'd be one of the five that would just sit there and like stare at me like and I'm like, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember that you set a high screen? Oh, that's right, coach. Yeah. Okay. I'm like, all right, go get him. And in junior high, you just yell it out like, Timmy, you're setting the high screen right here, right there. Yep, right there. Good job. Good job. That's how they learn. That's how they learn how to do things. Andrew's got an interesting one tonight. They play back at Hayworth, and they face a team out of Chicago that supposedly, and I was looking at the program, they look at 6'7", 6'7", 6'9" across the front.
Wow, man.
And we go 6'2", 6'2", maybe 6'3". And if you include Lucas or Andrew's hair, he's about 6'6", with the perm-like curls that he does not perm.
He tried to sell to me that he permed it, but I didn't buy it. But it
is the most naturally curly hair. It just cracks me up. So, yeah, this ought to be interesting. We got a win last night. It was kind of weird. I was telling you the story. I woke up this morning. I click on the News Gazette. I'm a, what do you call that, a digital guy? Mm-hmm. And they had all of our scores wrong. like they did. Like Andrew had 11. They only had him for 6. I was like, I think somebody called in the halftime stats. Wilson Kirby had 15. He had him for 8. I'm like, what's going on here? But you know what? It made me think of how the paper doesn't do the box scores anymore. They probably still did that when you were in high school, I would assume.
Yeah, I think so.
And you think about all the work that would take. I mean, to get box scores sent in, et cetera, but they just do a wonderful job. The News Gazette is as good as it gets when it comes to covering not only Illinois but also high school sports and everything. It's just it's a great paper. We're very lucky to not only have that but also to have our TV stations around here that do a great job of getting highlights on and everything of your kids. So it's good to go. And one of these days, Cade will be dominating.
I haven't seen my kid on there yet, so they're not getting everybody.
He would be in the form of a cutaway right now. Right, you take him to a Muhammad game. They would show it, or a Central game, let's say, or Centennial. Which one?
No
are you?
Central games.
Well, that's
Centennial.
right, Centennial. My bad. And all of a sudden there'd be I guarantee you Brett Barons would find you. And he would get the cutaway of Cade, like, standing on your knees. Of course, if he did that, he'd be like 6'4".
Yeah, he'd be grabbing the rim.
Right. So that's exactly what they'd be doing. And then you'd get Cade's first appearance on local TV. I think that'd be awesome.
I need to make it happen.
Let's get it done. So anyway, if you want to go to Hayworth tonight. Oh, wait. You're going to go have a steak.
I am. I'm going to the Long Branch. Excited about that.
Third year in a row I'm going to miss.
Yeah, I wasn't there last year. I think I was on the road for a game or something.
You know what? Yeah, you were. You were on the road. And I had another game I had to go to last year. So I'm 3 for 3 and missing a wonderful steak at Long Branch. So if you guys could throw your leftovers just collectively into a box, I'll eat it.
Okay.
I'm not too proud.
Jay was talking how many fried pickles he's going to eat. And I don't think I've had them yet. Maybe I went 2 years ago. I can't remember if we had the fried pickles that night or not. But the way he's talked about them, I've been wanting them. And unfortunately, you and Jay aren't throwing in to buy fried pickles for the entire community because Illinois didn't win the West.
That was Illinois' fault.
I will try to eat enough that it kind of goes, 1-for-1 deal there.
Now, I like fried, obviously, but I don't like pickles. But I would have to try it, right? I would have to try it. Because, like, even onions. Like, I'm not a big onion guy, but I can eat an onion ring.
There you go, yeah.
Just one.
Yeah.
But it's because of the fried, right? I mean, just throw anything in front of me that's fried, and I'm ready to roll. Well, you guys will have fun tonight. It's always nice that Stevie does that, and I always feel bad. In a way, I feel good because I help his pocketbook, but in a bad way, I'd love to be there for a lot of the fun. But, I'll be sitting in Hayworth having some fun.
You want me to order a steak for you and then
just see if they even notice that you order two. Just
leave a spot open next to me and be like, Lon will have he'll be here.
He's supposed to get here any minute.
He'll have the ribeye.
Go ahead and bring a box, though, in case he doesn't. But I know he's going to be here. He just texted me that he's on his way to Gifford.
I'll see if I can help you out.
Oh, you're a nice guy. I'll tell you that.
I won't get away with it.
So how was Joey Wagner yesterday?
Joey was good, man.
He's always good.
We had a good first hour, of course, with Jay. It wouldn't matter who was with me. We could get through a Jay hour for sure.
We should randomly bring in two people off the streets in Philo. And
you wouldn't even need me.
No, you or me or something. Well, not me anymore, but you could run the board and just have two random people sit here with Jay, and I bet it would be unbelievable radio. That's just how good he is. That's just how good he is. He makes us look even better, and it's awesome.
There's no doubt. Yeah, it was good having Joey in. Of course, Joey knows the football program very, very well for as closely as he covers it for Illini Inquirer. So had some good conversations. If you missed it, Jay telling some recruiting stories, some stories of like we started diving in. It was one of those shows, you know it well. The look we kind of give each other like, what are we going to talk about today? There's no Illinois bowl game. There's not a lot new that's happened other than Isaiah's declared for the draft and Tip Ryman as well. But Joey and I are trying to figure out, what do you want to ask Jay? What are we gonna get to? And
we
early
used
on,
our Britt Miller card.
Yeah, right. That was a good one by you. But we stumbled upon hosting players, like players being hosts on recruiting visits.
Okay.
And just kind of what goes into that and like the kind of game that the coaches play and trying to figure out, all right, this guy's going to vibe well with this player on the team, and maybe this guy wants to be shown a good time and go out on the scene. And all right, so we got to get him with Britt Miller. This guy wants to just sit in his room and play some video games, so we'll put him with this guy. So Jay had some interesting insight on that. So if you missed that yesterday, I podcast it at steviej.com.
That'll give me something to do tomorrow tonight, when I'm driving. So I'll do that. That would be fun. I've always wondered how they did that. Now, obviously, your so-called stars of the team, you would think that those would be the guys you'd want to go to first and say, okay, Isaiah Williams, we know you're an All-American potential. We're going to have you kind of host this kid and walk him around campus, show him everything, show him the ropes. But like you said, it's more detailed than that. And that's where, for every team, it's not Illinois only, but that's where you get to know your players well enough to understand what they're wanting to do. My only fear there would be you put him with Lon, let's say, and it's like, Lon, we need him back in the room at midnight. All right, this isn't Joe's till 2. And then I don't know where you guys go for your after-hour parties, but this isn't, coming in at 4 a.m.
We got academic tours the next morning. He's puking in a bag. Don't need that. It's a bad look.
That would not be good. His only recollection of this particular college was him getting sick. So, yeah, that would be interesting on how you play that. But, listen, these guys, they understand it. They understand the game, and I'm sure the coaching staffs, or at least the minions of the coaching staff, I don't mean to say that bad, I'm sure they're there almost every step of the way, making sure that things are going well. Let's put it that way. That would be cool, though. That's something I don't really think about. And of course, signing day tomorrow across the country, right? So it'll be interesting. I think Illinois, I was reading Jeremy Werner's article today. Illinois is 46th, I believe, their class. So this will be the third straight top 50 class for Brett Bielema, but the problem is it ranks 13th in the Big Ten, which is now out of 18 teams. So you're in the bottom half for sure. You're in the bottom third of that. So that's not good, but, I think we all
It's not good on paper.
Right.
We'll see how they develop with those guys. And
that's right.
There, of course, have been examples of zero-star recruit Devin Witherspoon. We'll see if you can find some of those. Again, you would love to have more of the quote-unquote sure thing if you had more 4 stars and maybe dipping into more of that upper echelon, especially in state where, those players are usually going, whether it's Iowa, Michigan, Notre Dame. It's been a while since Illinois has consistently kind of been in the mix there, and probably a long while. We're talking about consistently. But, yeah, I'll be interested. I reached out to Ryan Easterling, Illini Inquirer, so we're going to talk to him tomorrow. I know that Joey and Jeremy are doing a live pod on YouTube, a signing day special, which people are going to want to check out as well. They're going to have some good guests on there. So a little shameless plug for what we got going on. That they'll Brett Bielema will meet with the media at 1, and then they'll have their deal, and of course we'll be here 3 to 5 to talk about it.
Now it's all overwhelming to me. And usually signing day would be one of those days you would think that you would have a good time on a radio show, but it's just all overwhelming to me when it comes to signing day.
There's just so many guys.
That's the problem. Just Illinois alone, there's like 18 guys. So how do we kind of assess that and break that down?
And we've never seen usually never seen any of them play.
No, not at all.
We can study their huddle tape. Although Lon loves to be the 2-minute eval guy on YouTube or Huddle and whatnot, and he can tell you what the gut feel is.
Yeah, I saw that Easton Baker blow up a kid on a kickoff coverage, and I thought, yep, he's the perfect linebacker for us. Bring him on. So that's the kid from Utah. I did see today that Nebraska picked up the number 8 player in the country. Is that right? He's a quarterback.
It happened yesterday, and they flipped the number 8 overall player in the class. It was the number 1 pocket passer, at least, and I know that in the class that was a commit to Georgia, but he had some family ties to Nebraska. He had, I think, an uncle that went there at least, if not
one
another.
of them's still a coach there.
Is that right?
I think the uncle's the coach there. His dad played there.
Wow.
At Nebraska. So
okay, and he's now going to go with the Cornhuskers.
Okay, well that's interesting.
It's and I know that I was reading the ESPN article, and it said that within the era of ESPN's rankings, which I think went to like 2003, that it was the highest ranked recruit that Nebraska's gotten.
Oh wow!
During that span, so Matt Rule making some noise early in his tenure, which is not surprising at all. And we'll see how that goes, how fast he can build that thing up, and This race early in the new land of the Big Ten is going to be very interesting because it's got kind of like a sink or swim. Because if you get buried towards the bottom and you stack losing seasons, it could be really hard to climb out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on now you're bringing in more powers on the West in addition to having what is Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State that are always going to be good. Wisconsin you expect to be on the rise. Nebraska has kind of been that sleeping giant. I wonder if they wake up fully here. It's been a long time since they've been fully awake. But how Illinois survives the early stretch is going to be very interesting.
Well, and they couldn't survive it in the old days. right? I mean, let's be honest. That's been a battle since I've followed Illinois football, minus the 80s. And now all of a sudden you're throwing in 4 extra teams that are all better than you, essentially, from the Pac-12 coming over. So I mean, you said it before getting buried. I don't know how. I don't know. It's hard for me, and I'm usually the most optimistic guy when it comes to stuff like this. It's hard for me to see a rosy future for Illinois football. I mean, I just, when you're staring down the likes of now, instead of playing possibly Rutgers and Maryland, you're playing Oregon and Washington, and you're sitting there thinking, well, we could beat Rutgers. Well, we're not beating Oregon. I mean, it's just that simple, right? Now, there might be a year or two, obviously, that could happen, but I mean, even like next year's schedule is doable, but yet you still go to Oregon, you play Michigan at home, and there's one more powerhouse. Is it Penn State?
You are at Penn State.
At Penn State. So at Penn State, at Oregon, and you have Michigan at home in the dedication game, the 100-year since Red Grange.
That's right, yeah.
Took care of Michigan at it's the same, Memorial Stadium. So, I mean, right there is just like, ooh. But it seems like there's some winnable games on there.
Sure. If you look at it, I know that it was Eastern Illinois, right, that was originally the opener, but now it says TBD in terms of that game on Saturday, August 31st. Kansas is still slotted in. I know there was a report, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
That I think it was last week that maybe that game's getting moved. I know that Illinois spokesperson told reporters like Jeremy Warner that nothing has changed as of now. Kansas will be pretty tough again with Jalen Daniels being able to come back. But so it goes TBD, Kansas at home, Central Michigan at home, at Nebraska, at Penn State, then a bye week, Purdue at home, Michigan at home, at Oregon, Minnesota at home, another bye week, Michigan State, at Rutgers, at Northwestern.
I mean, again, I'm optimistic.
That 3-game closing stretch isn't
not too bad.
Scary. Even throw in Minnesota right before the bye week.
Interesting, the 2 bye weeks, too. Is that because they're playing
Is that a week 0 game?
Is that a week 0? That's what I'm wondering. Or, see, I don't know if that's a week 0 or because of all the new teams coming in, do you automatically now going forward always have 2 byes? I don't understand it. And then Illinois, so if they play the Kansas game, they've got Kansas. Then the next 2 years, you got Duke. Now, they lost their
Riley Leonard's going to Notre Dame.
Okay, their coach went to – I'm sorry. Is that the QB or the coach?
Quarterback, yeah.
Quarterback. So that helps, I guess, when you face Duke. But, of course, that's 2 years from now. So who knows what could happen. And then you put Missouri back on the docket after that, right? And Missouri is sky high right now.
Recruiting their butts off.
They really are. Eli Drinkowitz, is that his name? I mean, he's done a heck of a job for Missouri. And I questioned their move to the SEC in terms of competitive. I understand everything that comes along with moving to the SEC, or if Missouri would have come to the Big Ten, let's say. There's tons of money. There's the nature of just being in that big of a conference, et cetera, that's thought so highly of. Yet when that happened for Mizzou, I really questioned, this could be bad. Like, I mean, can you imagine like Illinois just joining the SEC? And I was just, so it was that thought. And really back then, Missouri, they beat you a lot and overall probably have been the better program, but it hasn't been light years away, right? It's been a fairly competitive nature between those two schools and how they finish each season. So when they made that move to the SEC, I thought to myself, good luck. And they've really done a pretty stinking good job of staying competitive in that. And then, of course, this year they win, 10 games? And are playing in a big bowl game. So I think it's impressive what Eli Drinkowitz, if I'm saying his first name right, has done at Mizzou. And I think that's kudos to him for being able to do that. And like you said, they're bringing in some good recruits too. And I know that helps too, playing in the SEC. Certainly helps.
Sure, yeah, definitely. This is a 10-2 season so far. They're going to the Cotton Bowl. It'll be their 3rd straight bowl appearance. They've made 5 in the last 7 years.
Wow.
They haven't, in terms of their win totals, prior to this 10-2, they were 6-7, 6-7, 5-5, 6-6, 8-5, 7-6. But they haven't had they've only had 2 non-bowl seasons in the last 7 years.
Pretty impressive.
That's pretty good, no doubt. And the arrow seems to be very much pointing up.
Yep.
Because of the type of talent they're getting, both in the portal and in recruiting high school as well. So, even right after making that move to the SEC, they went 5-7 their first year. Then they went 12-2.
Wow.
And won the Cotton Bowl. Then they went 11-3 and won the Cotton Bowl again. So that was Gary Pinkel. And then a little bit of a down stretch. Barry Odom wasn't great, but 2 bowl games in 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and Eli Drinkwitz done a very good job.
I wonder if they get tired of playing in the Cotton Bowl. I don't think I would ever get tired of playing in the LiaQuest Bowl or even that. I mean, or if the Music City Bowl, I'd be fine with Illinois going 5 straight years in Nashville. I'd be fine with that. It's really now. By the way, if you'd have told me today, December 19th, we'd break down Missouri, it would not be the football team that I would consider. We still got to do that because that game, of course, coming up Friday, the bragging rights game. But I don't know. It's kind of stinks that Illinois is not in a bowl. And I know that a 6-6, let's say, kind of a bowl is not that exciting, but I like it. I mean, I still think it's pretty cool, and I still would watch. And I think you can pump your chest out a little bit if you go to a bowl. Just to be able
to say back-to-back bowl games.
That's right.
And try to build that streak because we've talked so much about consistency. And we've also visited over, all right, if you're in – I mean, especially outside of, all right, there's the core of if you're not in the college football playoff, how big is the bowl game?
Right.
How big is the result? I think the destination of what bowl game you got to matters more than the result of the actual bowl game. If you go down enough and you just slide into the bowl in Detroit, what is it now?
Quick Lane
the Quick Lane. It's been the Little Caesars. It's been a couple of different, but if you go to the Quick Lane, is it that big of a deal? If you're going to say hey, did you see the Quick Lane Bowl? We beat Toledo. It may not be as much of a needle mover. I know it wouldn't be, but to be able to talk about, all right, this program has not been one that's been consistent, but you're able to say, all right, back-to-back bowl games.
Absolutely.
We even went through some injuries and whatnot, still got to that point. I'm not saying that by not getting there that Illinois is going – that Brett Bielema and company aren't going to have any juice on the recruiting trail because obviously right after they lost Northwestern, they had some big recruiting wins. So, but it's going to be important that, this doesn't build into, if they go next year without a bowl, then it's 2 years in a row, and then, kind of where you're at. That's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I just find it unfortunate when you got a guy as good as Johnny Newton was, who was consensus All-American. You have Keith Randolph. Luke Altmaier played pretty well when healthy. There was enough there, kind of Isaiah Williams being one of the best receivers.
Right.
You would have hoped that the emergence of Caden. You would have hoped that at least got you to the threshold, which I keep saying it shouldn't be that hard to just get bowl eligible. It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't.
But Illinois obviously had some big flaws, which got exposed enough to where you didn't get there.
And it always kind of brings up the argument once in a while with, okay, do you replace Eastern, hopefully get Eastern back on the schedule, or do you replace them with, I don't know, Southern Illinois, a win, in other words, is what I'm saying. And then it's the argument of, would you rather have Eastern and Southern in back-to-back weeks, or do you want to play Kansas? Do you want to play Duke? Do you want to play Missouri? There's a fine line there.
There is.
And to be honest with you, as cool as the ReliaQuest Bowl was, and that was awesome. I went to it. Everything about it was cool. Obviously, not everybody played, and that's going to be the case now going forward. So if you said to me this past year, all right, Lon, instead of the Kansas game, I'm going to give you a no-doubt win over Western Illinois, and that'll put you in the Quick Lane Bowl against Toledo. I don't know that I wouldn't rather say – now, for all the optics of back-to-back bowl games, that all makes sense with what you just said in terms of maybe not touting the idea of the Quick Lane Bowl, but touting the idea of, hey, we've been back-to-back bowls, things are moving in the right direction, continuous, or et cetera, my favorite word. Is that a word? I think that's just a We'll call it a word.
Yeah.
So if you said, okay, that, or I can give you that Friday night game in Kansas, like I know they got blown out that game, but I was excited that day.
I was juiced for that.
Right?
one.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were all like, we're 1-0. We've got a chance against a really good Kansas team. And it was fun to kind of, I mean, you know, again, it was a thud, but going into it, I probably would have been, in other words, more excited for that game than I would be for the Quick Lane.
Oh, 100%. Not even close.
So in a way, it's kind of a, you know, like, all right, so you got Duke, you know, and you got a home and home. And now, I don't know that Duke moves the needle much for me in football, but they have been halfway decent. And so, and then when Missouri comes, now that's going to move the needle for me. Even though they just pounded you in that last series to the point where you're out. No moss. Right? We're like, here's the white flag. We're waving it from every building we have on campus. We do not want to play the Tigers anymore. But that will be fun, at least, to get ready for each year, knowing you're going to play Missouri. And they're kind of a rival in football, in other words. I know what we think of them in basketball. So, I don't know. It's an interesting thing because, in a way, you could say, let's guarantee ourselves 3 wins to where the rest of that daunting schedule next year, you just have to win 3 games to make it to a bowl game. Now, the way Illinois does it, you almost have to win 4 games with the rest of that schedule. And as we know all too well, that 4th game is the bugaboo that Illinois can't ever get because Brett Bielema, even in 3 seasons, he's finished 5 wins twice.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 game shy of a bowl game twice. I mean, he could have easily been 3 straight bowls. So, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know.
I don't think there's
I'd
any.
rather have the better game, I think.
There's no disagreement for me that game at Kansas and then just run it back next year and say the game in Champaign, the second week of the season, whether it's week 0 or week 1, whatever it is, your second game will be far more exciting than a Quick Lane Bowl without Johnny Newton, potentially without Keith Randolph, if Isaiah Williams would have played or not. There's no competition. Now, unfortunately, Illinois wasn't very competitive in that game in Lawrence either. But, in terms of the excitement, no doubt. I think that when it's a home game, you have a chance. Hopefully your fans are excited enough about it that you can get a good environment there. You can bring recruits in. That can be a nice value. You get on national TV potentially. Was that an FS1 game when it was out there?
I believe that's right.
At Kansas. So that's always good to have. As a fan of it, I would want to see those games.
Okay.
And I get also because the difference between, it's an easy one in college basketball because you're talking about quad ones, quality of wins. That matters more than, if you have 23 wins but you haven't beaten anybody,
right?
Then that doesn't matter as much as if you've knocked off ranked teams and won on the road against a quality high major. That kind of thing. So it's a counting game to get to a bowl game.
It is.
So I get it when Randy says if you're not on the U of I Atlantic League text line, if you're not going to the playoff, get all the easy games you can get. I understand that logic because you want to be able to win 6, but you also got to factor in maybe just you got to play to your fans a little bit too, right? I mean, you got to try to. And I get it. The Big Ten has become all that much more tough.
That's true.
And you're not going to have maybe a year like last year where you caught a break in the schedule. You played Penn State at home, and there wasn't – I know at Iowa was a big game, but there were a lot of other winnable, maybe not super sexy matchups where you play Indiana, you play Northwestern, you play Purdue, even though we
Minnesota.
were fired up for that one too because of the Ryan Walters and Brett Bielema Twitter beefs. But anyways.
Walters, by the way, bringing in the 32nd best class this year, so a pretty good move on his part. 651
and also got Reggie Love.
Yeah, and he got Reggie Love. That's right. 651 did mention the 15 extra practices help as well. Well, they didn't help for this year. But no, I get your point.
Yeah.
I get your point. Heath did mention Duke's football coach also leaving.
Yeah, Mike Elko now
right.
at Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
You know who the new coach at Duke is? Manny Diaz.
Oh, the former Miami.
From Miami, yeah.
Interesting. Speaking of Miami, they're coming in. They came in and grabbed like 2 of the best in the state. So
did they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
A defensive lineman and a defensive back, I think. Yeah. 217. Football's about number of wins. Basketball's about quality of the win. Well, and that's fair. Like, I think maybe a lot of people would understand that they'd rather just have 3 winnable games, like Eastern Illinois, SIU, and Central Michigan this year. And now you're coming out of week 3, 3-0. And now you got in your sights, you just have to get 3 wins. Scratch off the Michigan, Penn State, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Although that would be awesome to beat Michigan at home. My goodness, would that be cool. On that dedication game, I mean, that would be really – now I'm really, like, the drugs just kicked in.
Who's coaching Michigan that game?
I'm not on drugs, by the way. Yeah, who's coaching Michigan? I know McCarthy will be gone, right?
Yep.
Their quarterback.
Yep.
Who's from the state of Illinois. That always bugs me. I got to get over that stuff. But yeah, so if you throw those 3 out, now you got what? That's 6 games. You're 3-3, and you got 6 other games to win 3
more. Yeah,
you got to win half those games. So, and you got what? Purdue at home.
But see, isn't that so? Aren't you just accepting at that point just a sad state of let's try to get to 6 wins?
You definitely are. But should we be there? Like, should that be where we're at? Like, I know exactly where you're going right here. And I don't like that. I don't like the idea of saying, well, look, hey, I just want to win 6. You know, I don't want to lead everybody
Let's
in
try to go to
sales
the quick.
this year.
Let's go to the quick lane every year.
Right.
Let's just get our 6, pack it in, go home, get those 15 practices, and run it back and say Detroit will be back for Christmas.
Yep. And Coach B, here's another couple million each time. But, you know, that's –
to 217's point on the U of I line text line, Michigan does do that most years. Well, we've seen a few years where they play Notre Dame or might have a more marquee matchup. But there have been a lot of seasons where maybe Ohio State just says, we're going to play Youngstown State, we're going to play XYZ, 3 cupcakes, and not try ourselves until we get to Big Ten play. I feel like they're talented enough to do that. I mean, Michigan's schedule this year was all a quote-unquote preseason, include their Big Ten slate.
Right.
Because, this is not a shock to anybody, Michigan and Ohio State are that much better than everybody else, especially the West.
Yes.
And most of the East, to where, you know, the first part of their Big Ten schedule, especially for Michigan, it was a 2-game season for them. They played Penn State and Ohio State back-to-back games.
That's it.
And that was their entire season.
That's it.
They weren't challenged at all prior to that.
They got cocky, too. That's why I see that, Darren. Coach B didn't come here to go 6-6. He's going to rue the day he said, I didn't come here to go 5-7 or whatever it is. That is interesting that, let me get back to that. Michigan got so cocky, I hope Alabama knocks them. Is that sad?
I'm right there with you pretty much.
I wonder.
And I have so much Bama exhaustion.
I do too, but I hope they destroy Michigan. Yeah. And I bet there's everybody in the SEC going, I hope Michigan destroys Alabama. Like, I guarantee you SEC fans are pulling for Michigan and Big Ten fans are pulling for Alabama. Maybe not. Yeah, it's interesting. We got a lot of people throwing it out there that these teams, all the studs, don't play anybody in the preseason. But, I mean, they're not trying to win 6 games, right? I mean, Michigan knows it's going to win 6 games, whether they have 3 cupcakes or not.
Does it help Illinois by playing at Kansas? Is there a circumstance where even if you lose that game, it helps you better prepared to then play, say, at Nebraska? Like, what if you played Western, Eastern, and Southern, and then you go to Nebraska? Now, again, like, I get the whole counting game to 6 or more. Like, I get also if you're making the argument, well, let's build the baseline to 6, and if you win more than that, then obviously you're going to a better bowl game. But let's make sure that we're factoring in a easy enough non-conference to get 3 non-con wins, at least 3 Big Ten wins, and then if there's anything else on top of that, then that's great.
It's just a bonus.
I'm just asking the question, if you're challenging yourself in one of those games, is there a value to that as far as preparing your team for when you jump into Big Ten play? I'm just asking asking.
Yeah, I think there is. I think there is. And it's interesting, like 217, how many times have we gotten to 6 in the last 30 years? Yes, for now, 6 should be the goal. So, I get it. But you're right about do those teams get you ready then for – but getting blown out by Kansas, did that really prepare us for everything else? I don't know. Bill, SEC fans hate the Big Ten. They aren't rooting for Michigan absent a gambling interest. Yeah, that's probably true. I doubt they like us. I don't know why they would have a stepbrother syndrome or a little brother syndrome with the Big Ten.
They're the big brother.
That's what I mean. So I don't know why
they want to make sure that little brother never grows as tall as them.
Right. That's true. Yeah, and is it Scott that said we need to? No, he said Roll Tide. Somebody said we need to. One open game. We need an easy bye game. They will. Unless it just doesn't work out with somebody, this Eastern game, if they're not playing EIU, will be replaced with someone that they will beat. Unless it just, I don't know how difficult it is. I mean, I hear athletic directors in high school talk about how hard it is to fill a schedule at times in football. I don't know how hard that is in college. It's got to be pretty hard. I mean, when you consider Illinois is out 8 seasons basically with Kansas, Duke twice, Missouri 6 times, I would assume it gets harder. We've gone really long.
We have.
Hey,
we haven't even mentioned basketball, which we
I know.
went into the segment saying, hey, let's mention Joe Lunardi's bracketology.
Because I looked at that today, and I was a little bit shocked. And I kind of like what I see.
Okay.
So why don't we talk about that when we return?
Let's do that. We've had a lot of activity on the U of I
Big
Atlanta
time.
Lake text line. We appreciate it. 217-359-2255. You want to continue to weigh in, give your thoughts on what we were just discussing in terms of non-conference football scheduling, bowl game destination, whether Michigan or Alabama will be the rooting interest, or you're just going to puke on January 1st. I think that's when the game is, right? You might be puking anyway if you have a good time on New Year's Eve. So, but let's talk some hoops on the other side. New bracketology out there. Illinois in a good spot as it stands right now. Let's talk about that and also other Big Ten teams where they stand. We'll do that next. This is The Drive.
Illini fans taste what's special about Jets Pizza by ordering any of their specialty pizzas for $5 off. That's right, $5 off on all specialty pizzas like the barbecue chicken pizza, chicken grilled to perfection, premium mozzarella, bacon, red onion, and barbecue sauce all piled onto Jets' amazing crust made from dough they make fresh every day. There's also their super special all meaty chicken bacon ranch and more, all $5 off. Make your day special and order a Jets specialty pizza for $5 off.
The holidays, the time of the year when gifts come in and stuff goes into the garage. You can leave that stuff there just for now or schedule 2 Men in a Truck junk removal to come out and remove it for you. 2 Men in a Truck has multiple solutions. If the just for now stuff isn't needed, we can junk it. If it's items you need later, we can store the just for now stuff until later. Has your just for now become more than you anticipated? 2 Men in a Truck has solutions for your residential and commercial junk removal at 2menchampagne.com.
Merle Norman brings sparkle and awe with the Winter Wonders gift collection. Every day is a beautiful new gift with the first ever 12 Days to Beauty Advent Calendar. For your favorite gloss lover, the Dreamy Lip Set comes with a collector's cosmetic bag. For skin enthusiasts, the Goodnight Skin Set features deluxe sizes of anti-aging complex night cream and eye cream. Shop limited edition gifts while supplies last. 706 West Market View Drive in Champaign for Merle Norman.
Illini fans, gear up to support your Fighting Illini men's and women's basketball team this year at the official fan store of the Fighting Illini, Game Day Spirit. From buy one, get one free basketball t-shirts to official NIL merchandise, Game Day Spirit has everything you need to support your Fighting Illini. Shop with them in store at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campus Town, or online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Crossroads Contractor Supply specializes in the delivery of tools and supplies within a 150-mile radius of Champaign-Urbana. Reliable, timely, and with reasonable prices, Crossroads Contractor Supply knows what equipment and tools are needed for your job. Their slogan, we have it when you need it. Get the job done right with proper tools and equipment. Did something break? Construction materials as well as safety equipment, all available. Call 402-8123. Visit CrossroadsContractorSupplyIL.com.
Have you ever wondered why you pay your bank to have a checking account with them? We do too. At Fisher National Bank, we offer free checking accounts that reward you to bank with us. Our Rewards Cashback Checking offers 2.02% cash back on debit card purchases up to $500 monthly. No service fees or balance requirements needed to earn rewards. For a free checking account that pays you back, simply make 12 debit card purchases, receive electronic statements, and have one direct deposit within a monthly cycle. It's so simple. We bet you're doing most of these things already. With Rewards Cashback Checking, you have access to Reward Saver, which earns 4.07 annual percentage yield on balances up to $20,000. Reward yourself with free Rewards Cashback Checking and Reward Saver, a few of the many ways Fisher National Bank invests in our customers. See monthly requirements at any branch or fishernational.com. Fisher National Bank. Exceptional communities, exceptional people. Member FDIC.
Everybody needs insurance, and that's why I love Kyle Lewis at Insurance Providers Group. This is Jay Lehman, All-American linebacker. Kyle provides auto, life, health, and all kinds of commercial lines of insurance. They are my one-stop shop for all my insurance needs, and all my rental properties are insured by IPG. That's why you need to email Kyle at IPGINS.com. Kyle at IPGINS.com.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante. Text line continues to blow up, and as much as I want to get to this bracketology, that I still want to get to some of these texts coming in. So, Rich brings up a good point on the U of I Atlantic Link text line. What was Kansas's record 8 years ago when they booked this series? Seems to me they were a gimme game back then.
We are the king, though.
I know.
I mean, if whoever sets these has this uncanny ability to pick out a team that's not good now, and then when they get here, they're unbelievable. Like Duke wasn't good forever.
It's almost like your karma in betting.
Yeah,
when it's going wrong. Not to say that you're always terrible, but like you're able to pick a team that's been rolling well, and then maybe they fail you. Which, look, there's a lot of us out there that do that.
Oh yeah.
But on the other side, whoever is making these calls are picking bad teams, then turn really good.
It's unbelievable. I mean, who was you could go through the years of the teams that we welcomed in. I mean, Arizona State, I know Arizona State used to be decent. They're not good anymore, really. But then they were like, ranked top 10 or something in the country? That you beat them when they came here. It's just, and then, didn't we play some team out of Texas or Florida Atlantic? I want to say Florida Atlantic, but it was
Well, there was, who was.
Some team smoked us.
That's true.
Was it North Texas?
North Texas?
Yeah. And then UTSA came in and beat us with their best team they've had. Virginia hadn't had a good team in a long time.
That game in Charlottesville was ugly.
That was bad.
Throttled Illinois.
And then they kind of came back to our level.
You got them back when they returned the game to Champaign.
But it is true, Rich, but it's unbelievable how these teams just all of a sudden are really like Duke now. Yeah. It's like a top 25 team.
I looked it up. So, quick trivia question. When Illinois and Kansas announced their series, who were the coaches at the respective schools?
I'm going to go with not Tim Beckman. I'm going to go with Bill
Cubit.
Bill Cubit.
It's not Bill Cubit.
And then did Kansas have that real big dude?
Yeah, good call. Charlie Weiss.
Charlie Weiss. Well, heck, I'm thinking of somebody different.
Oh, Mangino is who you're thinking of.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, they have had two big dudes. Cornering the market on big dudes.
Charlie Weiss, who was the Notre Dame coach, right? And then he lied on his resume.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. Or something. Something happened with his resume, and they fired him immediately.
Wasn't he also – was he a Belichick guy?
Yes, I believe that's right. Who was the Illinois coach?
It was Tim Beckman.
Oh, it was Beckman. Okay.
So, yeah, you go back to, it was January of 2014, Illinois and Kansas announced the series, and the coaches were Charlie Weiss and Tim Beckman. At the time, Kansas's previous seasons, 3-9, 1-11, 2-10, 3-9.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
Yeah, you thought you were getting a program that wasn't very good.
Now, the one time you did go right, and I'm going to give Bill credit for this, even though he's asking about a basketball side of things on UConn. You got UConn right.
Oh, boy.
Remember diving into the contract of the coach?
That was hilarious.
He got like $10 for every first down they got. I mean, it wasn't that, but it seemed like if they had a lead at half, he got like $1,000 extra on his contract. It was weird.
Randy Edsel, right?
Randy Edsel. And then didn't he end up in Maryland?
I think he was at Maryland, prior to that.
And then we threw an early interception in that game.
Pick six. I think Brandon Peters threw a pick six, like right off the bat.
It was 7-0. I know I always say this, but I was like in South Carolina or where was I? And I was in some little podunk restaurant or bar, and I'm like, can you just take that little TV over in the corner and put the Illinois-UConn game on? Because I know not one other person in America wants to watch this game.
This guy is sick. He must have money on this game. 100%.
217, how many years ahead is the football schedule made out? Well, of course, with these, like with Missouri, they've set that date. I mean, I'm telling you, like until 2032 or something, or even more.
These series are always scheduled like 8 to 10 years before, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, like, already they have their non-con maybe already thought of for not next year, but 2 years down the road.
Okay, so next year, what was on the schedule was Eastern Kansas, Central Michigan. You're going to have to figure out an Eastern replacement. 2025, Western Illinois at Duke, Western Michigan.
Okay.
That's already announced. 2026, Duke at home, Southern Illinois, and then you play Missouri and Champaign as well.
Do it like a big dog.
27, Eastern Illinois, and then at Missouri.
Okay. Why are we always at their spot first?
I don't know. 28, Illinois State and Missouri here in Champaign.
Okay.
And then, I mean, Missouri games are scheduled out from all the way until 2035.
I think I figured out I'd be like 65 years old or something. Like I'd be retired when that series ends.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I remember how long it seemed like when we first heard of the Missouri-Illinois series starting back up. I'm like, man, I'll be like 35. And I just turned 33, and I'm like, oh, boy. Wow.
I might be retired before it gets to that. No, I'm kidding. I wish.
I don't know.
That is crazy. Yeah. So
I won't. I can tell you that.
No,
I will not be retired.
That's a good explanation.
Unless I had a huge parlay.
Unless you do the Hans D that one-time parlay.
Uh-huh.
That had to have been the funniest.
He was so confident.
He was so, and he won a big one.
He did.
And he's like, this is going to pay for my schooling. And now he's
it
like.
It was just such like newfound, like just walked up. It'd be like if we never played golf and walk up to the first tee and hit it on the green. I'm like, I'm going to the PGA Tour.
That, or if you're the person that just on a whim, just randomly you buy a scratch off and win like $100. And you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to start doing that.
Yeah.
I'll just start scratching tickets every day, and that'll pay for college.
But yeah, he's like, these parlays are going to pay for my student loans. I'm like, oh, boy.
Well, I remember we jumped in on it.
I was super jealous because I don't think I followed him.
Oh, see, I followed him, and then I bailed because there was one last game, like on a Sunday or something. Or, well, I think it was college, so it was a Saturday. And I cashed out for a pretty good amount, like half of what he won. And then that team ended up winning like an overtime or something. It was just like, oh, my goodness.
He had, like, spreads mixed in with over-unders. He just had a long sheet of, like, 10 things to happen. And I remember he comes into the studio and just shows it to us. And I'm just like, what is – okay, Hans, whatever you say. Good luck. I meant to follow him, and then I never did. And then, yeah, you did. You won. And
oh, man, that makes me cough. That was funny. Hans D, now he's a pilot and a DJ.
DJ.
I mean,
I need to make it out one time, but when I got a 1.5-year-old, maybe a little bit more, and then also an 8-month pregnant wife. It's hard to be like, hey, I'm going to a party,
right?
Or I just want to say, I'm going to
head
go
to Schnucks.
Visit Hans at work. Hans invited me to his work, and I just wanted to check it out. It's a new gig for him.
I've always wanted to see what he does.
Yeah,
that'll be.
I'll be going out to Willard.
right. Like going in a flight or something, and instead you're listening to the flight. What are they called? The flight crew?
Flight crew, yeah.
Well, what's it? First of all, he invites us to his latest gig, and it's on a Monday night.
I know.
I'm like, Hans, first of all, I'm going to be in Hayworth for basketball, but it's Monday.
It reminded me of what college life was like because they're on Christmas break now.
Oh.
So when you're a college kid and you're on Christmas break, a Monday night
Saturday.
is a perfect night to get down.
Every night is Saturday. Good call. Good call. I didn't even think about that. Although, is he still in college?
I'm not talking about, but like the people that probably had this party.
Oh,
you got done through your finals week. You're ready to.
That's a good point.
Let it go. Let it fly.
That is so funny though. And the last
they're living
thing,
a good life right now.
I'm guessing the last thing anybody that had that party on a Monday night wanted was for Lonte at age 53 to come walking through the door. Like, is that your landlord? Are we getting evicted, or who's that guy? Is he the police? Is he a detective?
I do think it would look a little weird if me and you showed up to that.
I'm just over in the corner drinking a Busch latte, and there's all these 21-year-olds just bouncing around singing Motley Crue.
Yeah. Well, at least you know all the words.
You're right. See, not when I'd probably I'd get in the mosh pit with them. Is that what they call it?
Yeah. They still call it that, I think.
Then I'd get
hurt. I
hurt.
haven't been to one.
Then the next thing you know, there'd be an ambulance there because I tore up a knee, and they're like, boy, this probably wasn't a good idea to invite Grandpa. Hey, we're going to have to talk about bracketology next hour.
We will. But while we're on the subject, I thought of in 21 Jump Street, I'm sure you've seen the movie where Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill go back to high school, and they're trying to blend in as high schoolers. Like, we would have no chance of being that.
No.
Now, some people don't think I look that old, but
You don't look old.
And
when I was your age, I looked still kind of young. And I was thin. I think I could have pulled high school off until I was about 23.
Yeah, right.
Because even in college, I mean, I was.
No, I think these might be college kids.
Oh, well, I could have pulled that off until I was like 28.
Yeah.
Because I had a baby face, skinny. Yeah, I was. The problem was at 28, I still would have been the geek in college that I was when I was in college. So that would have been, everybody's like, oh, if I could go back to college knowing what I know. Yeah, but you'd still be what you are, right? Don't think like you're going back and just attacking life. I mean, you might attack life,
never
but
know.
You don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know if you'd have good luck with it. You'd be more aggressive.
You'd be more aggressive.
Assertive or initiator, like we were talking about with Jay last week.
Yeah. There'd be 100 no's a night. Yeah. Instead of just sitting on the other side of the bar like, I think that girl looked at me once.
I got to show you this. There's this Barstool Sports, so they tweeted out something. There's a GIF. This is probably so much. Never mind. No, it's not bad. LeBron, when he loses the finals of the Warriors, like he walks off the floor early, so it's a dead ball, and he's like dapping everybody up, and he's ready. He's like on his way out. And it said that when you're at a bar, you lose all your bets and you talk to 0 women. So like you're at the bar for the night, you play some bets, you lose all of them, you don't talk to any girls, and you're like, all right, I'm out.
I'm out, guys. Yep.
And it shows the score like Warriors 120, Cavs like 76. Like that.
Got to get up early tomorrow. So see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm getting called out by everybody. I wore jeans yesterday. I'm back in shorts today. Well, yesterday was windy.
It was really windy.
I mean, it was
freezing,
cold.
dude.
Today, at least, I mean, it's still cold. It's 34 degrees, but at least the wind isn't, like, tormenting you.
I know.
I had a beer yesterday in Wapella, Illinois.
I don't even know where that is.
Well, it's just by Clinton, below Hayworth, between Decatur and Bloomington on 51. So, yeah, boys want to do that.
Perfect.
I got a lot of.
I'm glad you got it done.
I got a lot of things in life. Some people want to climb Mount Everest. I wanted to have a beer in Wapella, and I did it.
Perfect. Well, I want to talk bracketology
Let's go.
at the top of the next hour because we didn't get to it. We had an elongated Illini football conversation, and then we dabbled into the idea of hanging out with Hans, which he's always been too cool for us, but now definitely.
There's no doubt.
Now definitely too cool. So
ridiculous.
We'll talk basketball, I promise, at the top of the next hour. Stick with us.
Maybe.
This is The Drive.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Palestinians. On Capitol Hill, no deal on border policy changes, which means no vote yet on more aid for Israel and Ukraine.
Both Democrats and Republicans understand that there's more work to do to pass legislation protecting America's security and the security of the Western world.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says they made important progress this week in bipartisan talks on border security, but now he says the goal is to pass something soon after returning in January. Republicans say immigration policy has to change to stem a record surge of migrants right now, especially in Texas.
Eagle Pass has been inundated in the last 24 hours with mass illegal crossings. Hundreds upon hundreds of migrants out there gathered, waiting for Border Patrol to process them. Border Patrol totally overwhelmed. They've got over 5,000 in custody as of this morning. They're still trying to transport another 4,500, and their facilities in that sector are running 260% of what their capacity should be. Mostly Venezuelans crossing there.
Fox's Bill Malugin. Texas, meantime, is being sued by civil rights groups over a bill signed into law yesterday aiming to allow the state to arrest migrants who cross illegally. California today becoming the second state to approve statewide regulations for the recycling of wastewater into drinking water. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
One voter's effort to keep former President Trump off the primary ballot in North Carolina is tossed out. The state's election board ruling it lacks authority to consider that. An appeal to state court is possible. Ahead of a busy travel weekend, the federal government's hoping for a much smoother holiday ride at the airports.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg didn't want to jinx anything, but says after Thanksgiving flight cancellations stayed below 1%, he's hoping that happens again this weekend.
2023 has seen the lowest cancellation rate in the last 5 years.
Buttigieg acknowledges, though, that delays are on the rise and that needs to be worked on. The Transportation Security Administration says it expects a 6% increase in travelers compared to last year, with this Thursday, next Friday the 29th, and New Year's Day to be the busiest with 2.5 million passengers each day.
Fox's Ryan Smells on Capitol Hill. The TSA already screening a record number of passengers nationwide this year. And by plane and car combined, AAA expects the second busiest holiday season in more than 20 years. A record-setting transmission for NASA, starring an orange tabby cat named Taters.
Kind of reminds you of a scene from the Austin Powers franchise.
It's a sophisticated heat beam, which we called a laser.
It's the first time NASA streamed a video from deep space using a laser by beaming the 15-second cat video to Earth as an experiment for the agency's deep space optical communications. The video was uploaded to NASA's $1.2 billion Psyche asteroid probe before it was launched in October.
Fox's CJ Papa. Took less than 2 minutes for that video to reach reach Earth from nearly 19 million miles away, 80 times the distance between Earth and the moon. Liftoff on Wall Street, the Dow up about 252 to a fifth record close, 37,557. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.
It is the Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Fun first hour.
Yeah.
I hope everybody else enjoyed it.
We got the gift, by the way, from the 217. How do you say his name? Steve Buscemi? He's kind of a weird-looking dude, actor.
Okay.
Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about.
That's where
he's
he's
in a lot
like,
of those Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah. And he's like carrying a skateboard, and he's obviously like 50, and he's in high school, and he's like, how do you do, fellow kids? That's solid. Yeah, we got that.
us.
Also, my buddy Nick, he's in my section of the Horseshoe.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I think George O'Leary was the Notre Dame coach who got fired, not Weiss. You're right. It's my fault. How soon we forget George O'Leary. He coached for like 5 days because he lied on the resume, I think. So, yeah, thanks for the correction, Nick. There you go.
I wonder what he lied about on his resume.
I think his accomplishments or something.
Did he say he invented the internet?
I'll have to go. Let me see if I can find George O'Leary. I bet the dude likes to drink beer. I'm just throwing that out there.
I would imagine.
Guinness
guy, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Let me start over. You keep talking.
All right. Randy mentions on the U of I Atlanta Link text line, did you see the report of Tommy DeVito doubling his price?
I did.
That stinks.
I did.
From $10,000 to $20,000 for an appearance at a local pizza joint, and the pizza restaurant, which is family owned, could not meet that demand, so they dropped the deal with him.
And the agent said a deal was never put in place.
Oh, really?
But the pizzeria produced a text that shows essentially that they had agreed to $10,000. So this is what happens when you get an agent, number one, and
especially
that agent,
one that wears what he wears.
And that agent's looking out for his guy and saying, well, wait, we just beat the Packers on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
So guess
I
what?
get that.
Here's what's going to happen in this thing. This is going to end up being a feel-good story because Tommy DeVito is going to make this up. He's going to do it right. He will end up going to this restaurant and signing autographs.
Well, on that note, Kyler alerted us on the U of I Atlanta Link text line, and I just searched it on Twitter. He showed up there today on his own, unpaid.
There you go. That's exactly
as originally scheduled.
When I first read that, I said Tommy DeVito is going to become. This is going to double his stardom now. Like this was probably all put together. This was all a ruse. Like the agent and the pizza. Like first of all, the pizzeria place. Now everybody knows him in the country. So now if you ever go out there, you're like, well, I got to eat at that place that was shunned by Tommy. Yeah, this. Was
I think it should. I don't know that maybe it could have been, but it was such a bad look originally. Not such a bad look. It just wasn't a good look originally, where you make that much of maybe a jump in the asking price, especially if a deal was already kind of like handshake agreement upon. But for it to get reported too, you just don't want that for Tommy.
Right.
For it to get reported of all right, now they're trying to big league some people into asking for bigger money, even though he's a local star right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is his. We hope that it's not, but it is for sure his 15 minutes of fame. You hope that it's a lot longer than that.
That's right.
But maybe it's not going to be. I know you talked about that last week, and he's got to capitalize on it. But I think that it does also show, there is a bridge between, agents are supposed to handle a lot of these things for players, and they will try to get what their market worth is and what they can get out of certain deals and whatnot. But sometimes it does make certain athletes look greedy or look and not the best. I'll even say it. Like I'll obviously I covered Io for a long time. I like him a lot. But I mean, he had an event here in Champaign in the fall where, you know, you had to pay $30 to get your picture taken with him, or, you know, $60, $70 to get his autograph. And at the first thing that came to my mind, I was like, man,
you're right.
It's a lot of money just to get a picture with Io.
Right.
I get it. Like, Io's a stud. He's a star. He's beloved here forever. But sometimes you're like, do you really need that?
Right.
And I know that I heard from some people around here. I was like, man, that's not a bad look. I wish he didn't do that. I was like, well, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if his agent kind of worked that deal out. And sometimes these guys maybe get bad advice, in my opinion. And again, look, if I was in that position where people would actually pay to get their picture taken with me and for my autograph, maybe I would do it. But I didn't love that, or just maybe the kind of the optics for Tommy. But
I bet DeVito's dad set him down and said, I don't know if you had a hand in this or if this was all the agent, but you're going to walk your little butt down there right now, and you're going to go sign autographs at that pizza place. That the parent had to step in.
Yeah,
I'm kidding, but maybe not.
Maybe, but we knew that Tommy's an awesome kid.
Dude,
You know, Trevor coming on last week and talking about he showed up somehow got Trevor's address, showed up at his door, dropped him off an autographed football.
That's incredible.
Unannounced, you know, just because that they talked to each other on a Zoom where Trevor was setting up an interview for him to do on the field of 12, which they had a football version of field 68. And Trevor was like, I'm a big Illinois fan, and this is really cool, and congrats on the season you're having. And next thing you know,
cool.
Tommy's coming with an autographed football. So Tommy seems like a really cool dude, and this is a very stand-up move that he's making to do this today. So, yeah.
That's good.
Hat tip to him for making it right.
Last football thing, and we're on to basketball. Promise?
Yes.
I'm making both of us promise.
Okay, let's promise.
George O'Leary, a few days after he was hired, inaccuracies were discovered in his published biographical sketch. The biography, which had remained more or less unchanged for 2 decades, stated that O'Leary had earned 3 letters in football at the University of New Hampshire, but when the union leader called the university to research a feature story, the school informed the paper he had not even played in 1 game.
Oh,
so
wow.
he said that he lettered 3 times in football.
Okay.
And look,
And
if you're
not.
using that to pick up somebody, you know, and your future wife, and you're wanting to at the local bar, that's great. But then you lose.
You know, I never tried that, but maybe I.
Yeah, you lose the football coach. You lose the head coaching spot at the University of Notre Dame.
Ouch.
Because you lied about playing
yeah.
college.
Seems like something you wouldn't have to. Now, former players do get some opportunities that those that didn't play.
Yeah.
But if he was a successful, like, it's not like it was his first coaching gig.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. All right, bracketology. I was kind of shocked to see this. And can I just state for the record that I don't go to bracketology like every other day. Like, I forget about it, and then about 4
because you're on
weeks,
KenPom.
That's right. That's right. And then like a month later, I'll see it. I'll see bracketology. I'm like, oh, I had to just check in, you know, because this thing will change 5 million times. That said, I would enjoy seeing this.
Mm-hmm.
In the South bracket, Kansas is the 1 seed. Tennessee is the 2. Illinois, the 3 seed, playing Colgate. Who you rematch. And opposite, Virginia as the 6 and New Mexico as the 11. So essentially you'd run into maybe a Virginia, and then you'd probably run into Tennessee again.
Yep.
In the round of 16. And then possibly you would play Kansas. Who else is in that? Kansas.
FAU is in that.
Oh,
as
yeah.
as a 4. Kentucky as the 5.
Ooh, how about an FAU-Kansas game?
That'd be really good.
Yeah, your other 1 seed. So Kansas a 1, Purdue, Arizona, UConn. The 2s are Oklahoma, Houston, Marquette, Tennessee, 2 teams that beat you. And then the other 3s along with you are Baylor, Creighton, and Clemson. Is Clemson good at in basketball? I didn't know this.
Pretty good.
I did not. That kind of snuck up on me. I was just looking to see how many Big Ten teams.
Yeah, do they have that breakdown by conference, or we got to count it out ourselves?
Well,
Lunardi does have Michigan State as his first team out.
Oh, wow. There's 7 Big Ten teams.
Wow.
9 from the SEC, 8 from the Big 12, 7 from the Big 10, 5 from the Big East and ACC.
As of right now, Nebraska
on
the last 4 in line.
Interesting. Wisconsin
now,
is
it's way early. But
well, right, again, this will change tomorrow. Ole Miss is undefeated. They're an 8 seed. But I don't think they've played many people.
Yeah, Chris Beard there now.
Yeah. And they just welcomed in a pretty potent transfer, didn't they, that is now eligible to play, I saw? I don't know. Sometimes I read stuff. I read like half of it. And then I'm like, and see, that's the dangerous thing about me in this radio show. I'll read half of something and then come in here and proclaim my brilliance by saying, well, they blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
I don't think
Lon, that's not what happened.
I don't think you were here when Kyle and I were discussing it, but they had I keep forgetting what you call it, the restraining order, which just seems so weird for that term to be used in like preventing an NCAA rule. Well, the restraining order has been placed on the fact that the NCAA can legally apparently keep players from playing immediately if they transferred multiple times. So long story short, there was kind of a back and forth where the NCAA at first was like, okay, you could still be punished, or just this would count as a year of eligibility if this gets flipped here in 14 days. So like Andre Curbelo played his first game last night at Southern Miss. Adam Miller's played a game now at Arizona State. 2 guys that have transferred multiple times that were sitting out this year because they didn't get a waiver to be able to play. So originally the NCAA said, okay, if this gets flipped in 2 weeks and you play 3 games, we're going to count those 3 games as a year of eligibility.
Wow.
Now they've stepped back and said we won't. But we have to wonder if this is going to get to a point where they're just going to do away with the rule where you can just forget the guidelines of you can only transfer once with no restrictions. The second time you have to sit, barring some kind of mental health argument or you having graduated. If it's just going to be a free-for-all, you could literally go to 4 schools in 4 years, not sit anywhere, or just threaten your school and say, if you don't give me more NIL money, yes, I've transferred already, but I'll transfer again.
Yeah. Well,
it's crazy.
Probably lose me as a fan. And whatever. I'm glad that they're able to do that. I mean,
I'm not.
Well, I mean,
I said it to
for
Kyle.
those people that are like, "Well, they," blah, blah, blah.
It's so dumb.
It really is. It really is.
Especially those that are. I get it. Like I don't know.
But
and
this is a student athlete.
Yeah.
This is a student athlete.
Yeah. Right.
So, maybe they took that first year of radio TV at SIU and said, I'm Valley Freshman of the Year in basketball, but I didn't learn quite what I needed to in radio TV. So,
well, it's just like, the grad transfer loophole. I don't know if they still have it in the description, but you had to, if the grad program you were going to wasn't offered at your previous school, then you could go to that next school and not have to sit out.
So they would just look for a grad program that isn't offered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you'd have to have some obscure grad program. Where people would just that's our transfer window there.
Dinosaur fossils. That wouldn't be a fossil. Bones. Yeah.
Chevy Chase film study.
Oh, count me in for that. Let's go. Just taking a dip. Just taking a swim. Rusty.
Anyways, back to bracketology. What's great is that in recent seasons, even I think last year we were talking about, Kansas being in the same bracket as Kansas. Now, obviously, it's easy to say now that you've played them and beat them in an exhibition game. I wouldn't be as fearful, obviously, of Kansas. I think Kansas is not a deep team. They're a team that relies a ton on Hunter Dickinson. Now, would the game be differently if Illinois and Kansas played and Terrence Shannon and Coleman Hawkins didn't combine to make 9 threes? Could be a little different.
Would agree.
But Illinois, in my opinion, is deeper. And if Coleman is going to have a good game offensively, he can exploit the fact that Hunter's not going to go out in the perimeter and guard him. Plus, McCullough is their best wing player, and
he was lights out.
He was fantastic in
us.
Champaign, and it speaks to Terrence that he was a little bit better. Like he outperformed him for as good as Kevin McCullough was. Shannon actually outscored him in that game. A rematch with Tennessee would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, Illinois fans, would say, all right, let's get him on a neutral court. Let's not have him in Knoxville.
Right.
Maybe they don't get as many calls. It would be very interesting to see just what officiating crew you get in that one, and how tight they blow that whistle and whatnot. Illinois should feel good because you've played Kansas, you've played Tennessee, you've played Marquette, you've played FAU, you've played 4 bona fide teams that can go deep in the tournament, if not
top 15 teams.
I could just flat out say 4 bona fide Final Four contending teams.
I would not want to play FAU again.
Yeah.
You had to shoot 60-some% to beat them. I mean,
now, I don't know how they guard you.
Well, that's true.
Because they don't have size. And
that's true.
Shannon and DeMass, I don't know if DeMass shoots like that, but he can post them up because they're a smaller team.
I mean, you had career nights out of 2 guys and shot the ball. You shot 90% from the free throw line. That's how crazy that was.
What's nuts is this team's actually been decent from the line the last few games.
They have.
3 game sample size. The last 3, I think they've shot 80-some%.
Are the right guys getting there?
It's probably helping that, yeah.
But certainly no. I agree. I mean, that is interesting that in this bracketology that minus Marquette, every team you faced is in your 16-team quadrant. Kansas, FAU, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. You just don't have Marquette in there. Marquette, of the 3, is the team that scares me the most. Now, it's easy to – well, I guess Tennessee also beat you. Marquette beat you. Would you agree with that? How would you rank between Kansas, Tennessee, FAU, and Marquette the team you would least want to see again?
That's a good question. For some reason, I think it's because I can try to shoot holes in the idea of Kolek doing as well as he did against you, but yet he's just that good.
He's really good.
There's no reason in the world that says he doesn't do that again against you. I would probably face, in order, I'd probably want to face Tennessee.
Least, is what you're saying?
No.
Most?
Most.
Okay.
Of those 4.
Yeah, I'm just making sure.
On a non-con, like,
neutral court.
Neutral court, I'd probably go Tennessee, FAU. It's hard because you beat Kansas. I just don't think Kansas is that. I mean, they're not this dominant one. I'm with you on that. I mean, if Hunter Dickinson doesn't do much against you, then you've got a legit shot of, but he's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
And Self is, we know what he can do in March. I'd probably go Kansas and then Marquette. I'm probably like you.
It's
so
tough to put that
Marquette
together.
would be the least.
Yeah, I have Marquette up there because what do you?
But I feel like athletically you match Marquette.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
It's just Kolek was so good.
He's so good. And facing a bona fide top-notch point guard in March just screams, let's try to stay away from that as much as possible.
That's a great point. And then the other thing is the stark difference between FAU and Tennessee and Marcus Damask. Like Marcus Damask could not miss against FAU. He could not make a shot against Tennessee.
Right. Tennessee defensively is pretty stout.
I would agree.
And they're one of the teams, I think, athletically that can make sure that Terrence has a tough time.
That's a great point. So maybe Tennessee should be up that list.
It just depends. It depends. If Tennessee's not making shots, they cooled off. Like, they came at you in waves early. And Illinois did not do a good job of guarding them. They got to the rim a ton.
Right.
Although Wes does bring up Shaka Smart in March, let's not forget. I have not forgotten, although I guess I did, Wes, because I have been on the wrong side of that. I picked Texas to win it all a couple of years ago. He hasn't won a tournament game, or he won one last year, right? They were a 2 seed. They beat the 15, and they lost to Michigan State in the second round. He's struggled in March big time since leaving VCU. What do I know? I love the personnel so much that I wagered on Marquette to win it all.
Nice.
Not long after Illinois played against them.
Well, I don't think that's a dumb move by any means.
I also think that night and just kind of in general, unless Coleman takes some more strides forward, Oso Ighodaro is a advantage for Marquette against Coleman.
That's a great point. Yeah, because there's matchups on each one of them that are tricky. There's no doubt about that.
It's interesting. It's interesting, but
that is a cool. U of I Atlanta Link text line. I will not be at the bragging rights game Friday because Andrew has a game.
You got a lot of games. They're loading them up.
I know. Well, it's just a holiday tournament.
That's true. Those are always
Have
fun.
a holly jolly Christmas with 3 drives to Hayworth. 6 total hours in your truck. I don't know what rhymes with worth.
I thought you were looking for a word that rhymes with truck.
Driving all over the earth.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. The 217 said he or she would buy us each a brewski if I can get my picture taken with you. Well, that's not hard.
I'm down. Is that the same one that asked about bragging rights? If you're going to be there, you can find me. Although 8 o'clock game after a pot, it's going to be late.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Joey Wagner and I will find ourselves at some place to get a refreshment late at night.
Yeah. Lindy said, so you majored in dinosaurs or paleontology? Well done, Lon. Mike from Arthur, he does not think Florida Atlantic is a top-tier team. He said this before we played them. So.
I think they're pretty good.
I
think they're legit.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Like, Joe Lenardi knows this stuff better than Lon and Mike, and he's got him as a 3 right now. That's pretty good. And when you think about it, I don't know. Who do they play during the season?
They're now in the American, or they were in the American last year, too. That's Memphis.
Okay. See,
no, it used to be Cincinnati. Cincinnati's no longer in that.
Okay.
Because they moved to the Big 12. So the American losing Houston, losing Cincinnati has hurt that league.
Oh, that's true.
But also then on the other side, FAU really shouldn't take very many losses the rest of the way.
So they're going to be in pretty good shape.
I mean, we're looking at Memphis. They play Arizona coming up this weekend. So maybe how you view how legit FAU is, I think that game could tell us a lot about that one. But in terms of their in-conference, I mean, they get Charlotte, Tulane, UAB, Wichita State, who obviously isn't what they used to be, North Texas, Temple, South Florida.
John Chaney.
Yeah.
I always remember the John Chaney, John Calipari battle in the postgame.
Love it.
That one. Who did Temple have that one year? They had one guy that was a stud.
When those two teams were doing battle?
Didn't they have one guy? Am I thinking of the right team? Like Temple had a guard that was
Aaron McKee?
Probably didn't sound right. I think it'd be before that.
So would UMass have had Marcus Camby?
UMass had Marcus Camby, yep. And then he got hurt in the first game of the NCAA tournament, didn't he?
Is that right? Oh, that's Kenyon Martin.
Oh, it was Kenyon Martin. Good call for Cincinnati.
Mike says Mark
Macon.
Mark Macon, yeah.
I don't know who's that?
He played at Temple.
Oh.
He was.
At first, I thought Mike was giving us his last name, and I'm like, wait a minute.
He was the first round pick in 1991.
Okay, I think that's who it was. He was just really, really good. I don't know. That might not be who I'm thinking about, but it doesn't matter. Hey, we got to get Matt Silich on.
Oh, yeah. Why do I keep forgetting about that?
That's all right. I mean, I'm not going to tell him you said that.
No, I won't.
And I hope he's not listening.
You shouldn't, and I won't tell him that.
Yeah, I thought we haven't talked NBA in a while. So.
Can we pick fun of the Lakers for hanging an in-season tournament banner?
Is that what they did?
Yeah.
Wow.
You see world championship banners, like they put them next to the old school ones, like the 60s and the 70s, like, Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West and those. Right beneath those, 2023-24 in-season tournament champions,
Oh, my
LA Lakers.
goodness. Wow. Well, LeBron's hunting for anything. How many more years?
You know what Jordan didn't do when he was 38? Take the Wizards to the finals of the in-season tournament and win it.
See?
Because they didn't have one.
Take that, MJ lovers. Yeah. What? How many years will LeBron play?
He's definitely going to play with Bronny.
Oh, that's right.
So probably 3 more.
Where's Randy coming from just out of nowhere? Was this text sent like an hour ago and it just went through?
I don't know.
He just all of a sudden, lots of transfer portal quarterbacks chose their schools. Like,
I'll have to look. Maybe there was another decision in terms of a guy on the move.
I'm like, we haven't talked anything about football this. Well, we did.
We
I
did
guess.
early.
We did early. I'm just picturing Randy being like me. Like I send a text and like an hour later it goes through finally. It's like the timing of it is just ill.
Yeah, one of those Dylan Gabriel going to Oregon. So we wondered, they got Bo Nix. Who are these Pac-12 teams who have Heisman level quarterbacks going to replace them with? Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma to Oregon. You've got the Will Rogers from Mississippi State to Washington.
I can't take him serious just because of the name.
Will Rogers?
Yeah, I just can't.
Is it Kenny Rogers, Mr. Rogers, Aaron Rodgers?
Well, there used to be a Will Rogers, right? There was like a musician or like a cowboy or something like
that. What it is?
Singer? I don't. Yeah.
Well,
what about the Manning kid? Will he be a freshman this year?
He was at Texas this year. Yeah.
Oh, so he didn't play.
Right, and Quinn Ewers says he's going back to Texas. I believe.
Okay.
Matt Silich was supposed to be on 1 minute ago, and we already got to catch a break and play some commercials, so he's going to be mad at us. But we're going to get him on the horn, our resident NBA expert, to catch up on the association. We'll do that next. This is The Drive.
First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana invested in our community since 1908. Before you buy your home in 2024, speak with one of our experienced lenders, Jack, Jim, Kim, or Lane. Experience the convenience of working with a local lender with local service, decisions, and loan underwriting. We'll close your loan conveniently in our comfortable offices. We invite you to visit us to experience the exceptional friendly service from our knowledgeable staff. Hey, if you're not already banking with us, give us a try. We think you'll love it here. We do. Call or visit us at 356 Bank today. First Federal, member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 435120.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
'Tis the season of love. Couples, if you're going through that engagement chapter of life, congratulations from Inspire Your Wedding and Events. Save the date on Saturday, March 23rd for this premier immersive, interactive, and inspirational wedding showcase. Vendors, now is the time to connect so you can interact with couples at the historical and unforgettable Orpheum in downtown Champaign. Head to inspireyour.com.
From computer systems to brakes and tires too, at PDR, fixing cars is what they do. Remember, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 or use their dedicated text-only line at 383-0619. Additional information including repair quotes and online scheduling requests available from the website at pdrauto.com. Remember, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
In an ever-changing real estate market, it is so important to work with experienced agents like Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor teams at Taylor Realty Associates. They have the knowledge and expertise to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Trust the experience and success of Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor team at Taylor Realty Associates. Give them a call today at 217-355-0700 or visit them online at taylorboys.com. That's taylorboys.com.
Check off your shopping list with Cardinals Baseball. 5 and 10 game packs are on sale now and feature 2024's highest demand games and promotional giveaways. Choose from the opening day pack, bobblehead pack, Cubs pack, and more. New for 2024, check out the 10 game for the Lou pack, which includes lots of new STL themed promos. Give the gift that lasts all season, all baseball season. Cardinals ticket packs start at just $55 and are on sale now at cardinals.com/holiday.
Carl works every day to improve the health of community members across the region, and it would not be possible without team members like Sierra Poole, phlebotomy lab lead at Carl Foundation Hospital.
I love working at Carl because of the togetherness among the phlebotomy team and the opportunity to advance within the department.
If you're looking for an opportunity to serve your community like Sierra in a supportive environment with opportunities for growth, visit carl.org/careers.
Jeremiah 29:11 states, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." What a comfort we have in this passage, as the Lord is telling Jeremiah, I care for you and will take care of you. If you are in despair and think you have no hope, pray to the Lord for guidance. See how your life can be changed and the lives of those around you. This message brought to you by the Blossom Basket Florist. Here's the deal. When you combine State Farm home and auto insurance, you save an average of $889. State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow is ready to help you combine home and auto and save right here in Champaign-Urbana. Call 352-1411 today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Average annual per household savings based on a 2019 national survey by State Farm of new policyholders who reported savings by switching to State Farm.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Right on schedule. Just as Lon texted Matt Silich, we will call you at 4:37. We are on the air with Matt Silich on the Tapman's Towing phone line. Matt, never a doubt, right? What's up?
No, I was really, really confident that it was still coming. I hadn't even blinked an eye, and it was 4:35, and I was thinking, probably, in the next 10, 20 minutes.
Boom.
If not, next hour. You never know.
Yeah, next hour when we're off the air. Don't put it past us.
Right. Don't do that. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying life here in cold Minnesota, but it's actually pretty mild this time of year. For this time of year, rather, it's been nice and in the 30s.
Nice.
So that's good.
That is nice.
That's a win. Small wins in the Minnesota winters. You got to take those where you can get them.
Yeah, the older you get, by the way, you get small wins count. Those count for sure.
Speaking of small wins, the Lakers in-season tournament banner that's going up.
What a transition. That's beautiful.
What do you think? Banner worthy? Is this going to, to be honest, most teams, if not all teams, I'd say all teams that win a in-season tournament are going to find some way to honor that and kind of show that off within their arena. But it just looks weird, Matt. And I guess whoever's going to be the first is going to make it look weird. But especially for it to be the Lakers and to have so many world championship trophies or banners up there, for it to go next to those just seemed off. What do you think?
That's an interesting point. I think I agree with the point that, hey, it looks kind of weird. And it's weird to have it this really new thing on the same pedestal